Okay. It says you're live.
All right, we are live. At least that's what the, is that what the little hamsters are telling us, hon? Are we absolutely live? Are you positively sure?
It says we're live.
It says we're live. I'm waiting to get full-on confirmation before I do my whole spiel and then have to redo it again.
Yeah, I would wait too, because this is...
like we have to do every week, right?
Yep.
So let me go here.
Starts off with an ad, seriously?
Yes, of course it does. It always does. Don't you know how that stuff works?
Okay, you're live.
We're live.
Audio's
Excellent. So I'm just trying to pull it up here on the phone so I can see chat. So I hope everybody's doing well. And it doesn't want to pull up. Come on now. Come on. Well, maybe it'll eventually. It's bad. We just had folks commenting about not getting notifications. Yes.
That just made a noise.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just email. It's okay. Just had somebody mentioning about not getting notifications pretty bad when I own the channel and I can't even pull up my own show. That's just the way it goes with YouTube sometimes, isn't it? Well, we'll go ahead and get started. And Sue, if you've got folks in the chat over there, I'm just going to rely on you to let me know what's going on.
No problem.
Okay. So I'll set this down. Yeah, for whatever reason.
Hanks says hello. How are you
Hello,
doing?
everybody.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How's everybody else doing tonight? All right. Yeah, I give up. We're just going to shut all this down and get started. I hate not being able to see what's going on, but I'll just trust you, hon, to take care of it over there.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Welcome, everybody, and good evening. It's time for Let's Talk Airguns. Hope everybody's had a great week and looking forward to a great weekend. We've had some fun weather here, hon, don't you think?
Yes, indeed. Gusty.
Gusty. It was blowing hard last night, like banging and shaking everything. I woke up this morning and we had lost power up here at the ranch. So fortunately, we have a big old diesel generator that the backup generator kicks on. So where there's power up here, where Sue and I live, we are on solar. So we don't really know when that stuff happens, but fortunately, everybody was okay up here. But yeah, we lost power. It was a fun night for sure. Just a ton of wind. It's been pretty dusty and windy. It's probably some of the worst we've had in a couple of years. Don't you think, Sue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly makes it hard to go shooting when the wind's blowing 40, 50 miles an hour. So we hope to get out this weekend. I think Sunday and Monday is supposed to be decent. So we'll go to church and then I'll probably spend the afternoon down there at the range. As always, you guys in the chat, it's really bumming me out. I can't see the chat. But as you guys in the chat, if you have questions or comments, shoot them over to Sue and she will, be your voice for the show. Yes, Sue.
Okay. Would you like me to tell you what people are saying so far?
Yes, go ahead.
So, no big plans for testing, but testing 4 different grain Zan slugs tomorrow.
Cool. That sounds fun.
Where was the other one? Love the Barra video.
Excellent. We're going to talk about that.
Great time in air gunning. Regulated for 275. Can't beat it. Don't know what they're talking. Oh, that must. Is that the Barra?
The Barra,
okay.
Yeah.
Tyler Hanks said his first PCP was a Benjamin Marauder.
Right. Gotcha. Mine was a Discovery. My second one was a Marauder, so I'm right there with you. So cool. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Pinty, the Barra. We're also going to do a little airgun report on the Pinty and the video that's actually going out tomorrow. I'm going to probably do a video on the Barra, not next week because we're going to be out of town, but when we get back, or maybe we can do it while we're away. I don't know how that's going to work out yet. We'll let you know. We'll put it out on YouTube and Facebook and stuff when our next show is going to be, because we're going to be out of town for a couple weeks. All right. So again, hope you guys are having a great week and have some good plans for the weekend. Really quickly, I want to say thank you to our, you guys for watching the show and hanging out with us, for the folks that download our podcast. That's really cool. Appreciate it. If you guys want to kind of do stuff during the week, you want to get involved with other air gunners, there's 2 great places that I control, that I am in charge of, that I either own and operate or have, interest in. And excuse me, it's that spaghetti she fed me. It's sort of like that apple she gave me. Reference there. Anyway, yeah, blame the wife. But as GatewayToAirguns.org. GatewayToAirguns.org is a great place if you want to hang out and chat with air gunners and get some help or get some information, or just be someone who can help and give information to other folks getting involved in the sport. It's a great place. And so I don't know if you can show really quickly over here my screen. One of the things we're doing here on Gateway to Airguns, we have a section called the ARC, and it stands for Airgun Repository of Knowledge. I know, it's just me and my acronyms. But we have all of the videos that I create for GTA and AirgunWeb are here. It's open if you're a creator, you would like to have a place to put your material that is like outside of the normal mainstream social media censorship type stuff. Reach out and I can tell you about sort of the parameters. So if you'd like to be part of posting here. But so we have folks like Haji's up here, and Airgun Detectives is also up here. My stuff's here. And we also have like a whole, like just general stuff that we've posted up here in different categories. So if you want to see our material and others, at least some other material outside of traditional social media, in other words, you don't.
I'm sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong flipping camera. That's my fault.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the right camera and I can't find the right angle.
What for my computer?
For your computer with not your computer in the bottom, you flip something. Never mind. I'll figure it out.
It's the
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
There it is.
No, this is
That's
the
it.
wrong camera angle. There.
Okay, you happy?
That's it.
You
Yes.
got it now? All right. So
Okay.
operator error, not my fault.
That was all of me.
Okay. So if you want to view content outside of traditional social media and just kind of separate yourself from that and view it over here, you're welcome to do so. I embed all of my material from Vimeo. That's kind of one of the prerequisites that we have, because if you embed it here from YouTube and YouTube shuts you down, you lose it anyway. So we want to have a place where it's separate from that potential of just somebody flipping a switch and all of your hard work goes up in an instant. Yeah, we don't want that. So this is a way that you can watch our stuff and stay separate from all the other things. We also have the same option over here at Airgun Army. Airgun Army is kind of a newer interface. It's kind of a different sort of configuration. There's more and more people using it. One of the things we've done here on Airgun Army is I've created a new space called troubleshooting. So if you join up to Airgun Army, it's free, and you have a question, you can throw it in the troubleshooting, and we're going to be building out moderators who can actually help and answer questions. I think that's pretty cool. There's also the Creators Corner here. So if you want to see Angie's stuff, she has a backyard shooting channel. I have my AirgunWeb channel, Gateway to Airguns channel. There's a nomadic airgunner is up here. I don't know if he's posted anything or what he's posted last. And then Walton is supposed to have posted some written reviews, but he hasn't done it yet, so I need to get with him. Anyway, this is another place that you can get information, and this is definitely open to creators if you want to be part or have a place that you can go publish your materials, and then link to it, showcase it, share it with folks. You can do that. So these are just some other areas besides traditional social media that's outside their control in a way that we can actually make sure we keep our stuff where people can get to it. So if you're having any interest in that, look us up. It's GatewayToAirguns.org and also AirgunArmy.com. You can also just watch our stuff at GatewayToAirguns.com and AirgunWeb.com. I know a ton of links. I can't even put them in the chat because YouTube gets all finicky about me linking to something that could generate an indirect sale. I go figure. Anyway, let's move it along. Okay, so also I want to mention that we've got the fun shoot coming up Memorial Day weekend. If you want to learn more about that, so I'm going to zip over to AirgunExpo here. If you want to learn more about what we got going on, it's going to be the weekend. We're going to be Memorial Day weekend. It's open to the public, and I'd love to have AirgunExpo where we have a sponsored content and sponsors that send product, and we have showcasing new stuff, and we do some cool things like we've done in the past. Hopefully that works out. If it doesn't, we're still going to just be shooting and having fun. That's why I've scheduled it for the weekend. So I'm not trying to do a whole week. That's frankly more work than we're able to do at this time. Kind of completely short circuits us for a while, and I just can't afford to do it. But we're going to shoot for the weekend, have a good time for the weekend, and if you want to come out and join us, you're welcome to do so. You can learn about the where and when and how and all that stuff by going to theairgunexpo.com. You can also see previous expos, and we will be we're going to have a good time, whether it's just 5 or 6 of us or 50 of us. We're going to have a good time, and I hope you guys can join us. If you're in the area, El Paso area, or you want to come out, we have a limited number of campground spaces that have electrical hookups, plenty of place if you want to dry camp, and the Best Western is about 45 minutes away, which is a pretty nice place to stay. That's really close to where we are. So anyway, that's that. And if you're just passing through, there's a gentleman coming in April. He and I believe his son are going to be swinging through, so that's cool. If you're coming by this way on I-10, reach out, man. You guys come. We'll do some shooting. We'll have some fun down at the range, man. I love to do that.
Yeah, we're not far from I-10.
Yeah, I mean, we're about 18 miles straight north off of I-10. And literally, it's the same road. You just stay on that road, and eventually you're going to run into the ranch. So that's pretty it. Anything going on over there, Cheryl? Or Cheryl. Sue. Oh, where's my head tonight? I know. Hey, forgive me. You're
That
screwing
would
up
be
the
your
camera.
sister,
I know.
not
You're
your
screwing
wife.
up the camera angles, and I'm screwing up names.
Okay, we blank each other out, and we're
Yeah,
all
we're
good.
equal now. We're equal.
Okay. John Vesper is looking to get into his first PCP. This one will sound like Scott, so you'll appreciate it.
Okay.
He said, currently got it narrowed down to something just this side of the total number of molecules in the observable universe.
All right, and so if you kind of wedge in the space-time continuum, we've got my buddy Scott definitely involved in that particular thing. Well, let's just jump into that topic. Actually, we'll kind of go out of order here. I got some show notes we're working off of tonight. But the topic I wanted to discuss, this is based on some stuff I've been posting in GTA and Airgun Army. I've been doing daily posts there, mostly on GTA, and starting to work on Airgun Army, like posting stuff every day. Okay, I cannot drink soda water. That is, the soda water and spaghetti are no-nos going forward, Sue, all right? So remind me of that. Soda water and spaghetti, no-nos.
I'll try and remember.
You'll try and remember, yeah, because that happens so often. Warning. But we want to talk about buying your first PCP. And I remember when I first got a PCP, it was sent to me on loan from Zisico. It was a B40 or B50. I don't know. It was a long time ago. Regulators were not terribly available, and the thing was awesome. It was like just amazing. I remember having, spending time with that thing. It was just awesome. This is a beautiful air gun. But there wasn't a ton of options. I mean, you could go to Pyramid Air at the time, and there was all that stuff. But there was, in my opinion, just way out of my price range. And then there was all the things you got to consider when you're buying your first PCP. So the first thing I wanted to talk about tonight is that topic. So if you're someone in the market looking to get your first PCP, hopefully tonight's show is going to help you refine your thought process to kind of get you headed in the right direction. So, Sue, if you were buying your first PCP, now, a little disclosure. We have talked about this. So she's been coached.
Briefly. We
Okay.
barely.
But
Don't lean too far that way.
Yeah.
Because you're in the camera.
Okay, like this way?
There you go.
This way. So this last weekend, we took the Barra 1100Z out. And I just got it in over the weekend. Put a scope on it. Actually, their scope, they provided the scope. And the video for that went up today. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that. I'm curious how you guys like that video because we filmed it differently. It's a different way of doing things. I want to get your opinion on it. But you got to shoot that gun, right?
I did.
And you're used to, I mean, your favorite guns are what? I mean, your absolute favorites are?
AirArms, BSA.
Okay, so we're talking
Day State.
1,000 plus. We're talking $1,000, $2,000 air guns are her favorites, right? It's just, if you guys are married, you're going to understand this. If you take your wife shopping for something and there's 15 things on the wall, she's going to like the one that costs the most money. It's just the way it is, okay? So
it's called good taste.
I was just going to say she's got good taste because the guns she mentioned, AirArms, BSA, and Day State, are all really nice air guns. I mean, they have an aesthetic that's pleasing, a function that's pleasing. They're very accurate. They're consistently accurate.
Easy to shoot.
They're very, very nice guns, but they are very expensive. And she sat down and shot this $275 gun with a $100 scope. So we're talking sub $400. Get your foot in the door with a regulated PCP 25 cal. And what'd you think of it, Sue?
I was impressed, frankly. There were a couple things about it that were not they weren't ideal for me. You didn't care about them, but they weren't ideal for me. But the gun shot, I mean, I had no time on it. I hadn't practiced. I just got up there and started shooting, and I hit the same spot every time.
She was shooting 50 yards. So, I mean, it was a legitimate distance. If you watch the video, I was shooting out to 100 yards. The scope is a budget scope, and it doesn't give you a lot of aim points. So if you're having to do Kentucky windage, you really got to be good at it. I am not. I am a hack at best. But I was still able to put it on steel at 100 yards pretty consistently, which, out of the box for a sub $300 gun, I was pretty happy with that.
I was impressed with the scope.
You like the scope?
I was impressed with the scope because I've sat down to a couple scopes in my lifetime with you. Well, maybe more than a couple, maybe a handful or two. And I have my favorite. Everybody probably knows what my favorite is. But this one I sat down, and it wasn't one that I was constantly trying to find the little area. It's a cheap scope, but it worked perfectly fine for what I was doing.
Yeah, I was pleased. It was.
I was like, if I didn't have to go cook, I would ask to shoot some more, which is unusual for me.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this air gun. I don't know why I was taken by surprise, because I enjoyed shooting the standard 1100 so much. The standard 1100 was great. It was just not regulated. This was regulated, so it's better, right? It's more consistent. So one of the first things you're going to want to do when picking your first PCP, or really air gun, we're going to stick to PCPs now, is you got to define your goal, right? So Sue, what's your favorite type of shooting?
What do you mean? What's my favorite?
I'm like, if you have, and I break it down into two classes. There's target and there's varmint. So if you are going to do one or the other, or lean one way, maybe you do a little bit of both, but you have a kind of leaning more one way or the other way. Once you define that, that's going to begin to point you in a particular direction. So,
okay. So here's the problem for me. Okay.
All right.
I don't shoot much, and I don't go out to shoot much. However, I've shot prairie dogs, and I loved that. That was so much fun.
She did have a good time with that.
Whack-a-mole
with an air gun. It's way fun.
I shot mice. And that was fun.
She shot at mice.
I shot towards
There were no mice harmed in the filming of this video. There was a lot scared.
Towards the mice.
There was a lot of them that were scared. They're still out there with PTSD, not wanting to come out of their hole.
But I had a lot of fun shooting that stuff. Like, it's not like, please don't get me wrong, I don't go hunting animals and think, oh, this is awesome. I don't. I have killed a pig. It was not awesome. It was terrifying, and I was more concerned about the poor pig and did he die?
It did.
But it
she
did
killed
die.
him dead.
And
I forgot you did that hunt. I forgot.
It was a bigger pig than yours.
It was huge. She shot the thing, and it didn't know it was dead, and it just went straight into a tree, donk, and then fell over. And she was like, "Do I need to?"
And he wanted to
shoot,
take a photo
shoot it again.
And I'm like, "Let me go see if he's dead."
She was shaking. It was pretty cool.
It wasn't pretty cool for me. I was
draped
terrified.
over the tailgate of the truck.
But once I knew he was dead, it was like an accomplishment that I actually killed this pig, and then we were going to eat it. So, I mean, somebody else gutted it and everything. But so I really actually enjoy that kind of thing. But I really love shooting at a target that's reactive. And I really like to be able to sight in a scope on a paper target. Like the Air Arms in fact, the Air Arms with the little thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It was a plain wood gun, and it had this little round black piece on the top of it.
Oh, yes. You're talking about the 10-meter gun.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
It did not look like anything fancy.
It was the T200, I believe.
That one.
Yep.
I loved shooting that.
It's a little 10-meter gun. Mm-hmm.
And being able to actually shoot on paper, see where you're hitting every time and be able to get accurate at that, and then move to something that's reactionary, like the spinner targets, or even the paper targets that
Change color.
Yeah, that change color, and then moving up to animals. I personally, I'm hard to please, I guess, because I like it all.
Okay, so I think if I could distill that down, you are more target than varmint. I mean, for your everyday shooting,
probably just because of time.
Yeah,
the amount of time it takes to go hunting or shooting. Yeah, probably.
Okay, so you're more target than varmint. So if you're out there and you're looking more target than varmint, basically power's not as important, right? It's really accuracy.
Yeah,
accuracy and consistency is not that varmint doesn't need accuracy, it absolutely does, but you have a power consideration. Like if you're target shooting, power comes into play when you start talking about your range. So if you're 100 meters or 100 yards, you got to have enough power to get there, or it's just you're arcing it in like an artillery shell, and you're not going to have repeatable accuracy probably. So if you're like backyard shooting targets, there's a class of airguns. In fact, there's a ton of airguns that are going to fit your needs, that are going to be anywhere from a couple $100 to a few $1,000 depending on what you want to spend, right? If you're going to hunt, then it changes the dynamic, because you need to identify what you're hunting. You need to know what's the kill zone, like how big of a kill zone do you have, and how consistently can you hit that, and will you have enough energy with whatever range you're consistent at to get the job. There's a lot more questions, right? So once you've defined your goal, target or varmint, right? And then each of those, you're going to have the question of how far am I going to shoot? Once you've got that narrowed down, okay, I want to shoot 100 yards and I want to be sub MOA. I hope you have a fat wallet. I mean, that's how that works, okay? Because if you want to like sit down, first of all, let me just tell you, if you could sit down at the bench and shoot sub MOA every time, go on the professional circuit, because you're gonna win every competition.
Yeah.
It is way harder than it's demonstrated on a lot of YouTube channels to shoot sub MOA. It is difficult. It's a challenge. There are guns that can do it. There are shooters that can do it, but I guarantee you, all of them don't shoot sub MOA every single time they sit down to the bench. So let's be realistic. So that would be like the next thing. Once you've got your parameters, I think defining getting some realistic expectations in the mix there is probably going to be also super important. But let's say you want to target shoot in your backyard. I think that is where most people start, right? That's where I started. Target shooting in my backyard. So I've got limited range, say maybe 25 yards. When we lived in Havasu, the best I could get, if I went corner to corner and tried to open the gate, I could maybe get 21 yards, which is 60 some odd feet, 63 feet. All right. That's actually further than you might think if you're trying to shoot dimes. It's
it really is.
It actually is, right? So it's not feet, we're talking yards. Okay, so we're talking 21 yards, about that good. So 25 yards is a good area. Now there's competitive 25-meter bench rest. So we're talking about, it's not like, that's so funny. I get so many comments about people, griping and complaining. If you're not shooting 50 yards, you're wasting your time. Well, I actually enjoy seeing how tiny I can get my groups at 25 yards. That's fun for me.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoy that. I enjoy it.
How many times can I hit the
spin
the target?
Exactly. So, there's a lot of opportunity out there. So if you're looking at target shooting in your backyard, you need a couple things that are going to happen. One, if you got neighbors, it's got to be what?
Quiet.
It's got to be quiet. It's got to be accurate, got to be quiet, right? So you start putting these parameters together, and it all comes down in the very end of, and you probably should be thinking about this before you start looking at guns or getting on YouTube, is what's your budget? And I'm not talking about just the budget for the gun. I'm talking about your all-in budget. Because most PCPs are going to require a scope. So you're going to need an optic. And then the big thing is you're going to need a way to fill them. I have this on the table here. JTS is one of our sponsors. This is their older model compressor, a little personal compressor. It doesn't fill bottles, but it works really good to fill your air gun. Something like this is about $500. So right out of the gate, you got some money to spend besides the gun, besides the optic, besides the ammo, besides the bipod, besides. You got an investment just so you can continue shooting. Now, before people start screaming and getting on their rage ponies about how things are so expensive, rage ponies, I stole that from the
range ponies or
rage ponies.
That's funny.
Range ponies, range ponies. I can't say that fast, but that's actually not bad. Yeah, before people get like crazy about that, when I first started, there were no personal compressors. There were the Nardi or maybe the Coltree, and were thousands of dollars plus freight. So I'm thinking, imagine this, right? If you could have a reloading setup and you could pay for gunpowder and it was a lifetime supply of gunpowder for a flat fee, would that be like something that made sense to you? Probably. That's what these personal compressors are, right? They're your propellant, right? And if you take care of them, you service them, you keep them up, you don't abuse them, they're going to give you years and years and years of service. That is unlimited propellant for a flat fee. It's worth the money, okay? And it's worth your back, because if you're going to try and hand pump one of these things, you can do it and you're going to get real tired real quick, like I did. And I was younger then and not nearly as fat as I am now. And I still, when I could get into a compressor, when they finally became something I could get, I was all over it. I spent probably, these still didn't exist yet. I got a custom built, I forgot the gentleman's name, a custom built, it was actually screwed into a sheet of plywood and custom, it had like custom configured, it was cobbled together, but it was a compressor and it filled to 4,500, and I spent $1,800 on that. And it was, once I could make my own high pressure air, fill my tanks, it was like, my whole world of being able to shoot air guns changed, because I wasn't always concerned about running out of air or having to hunt air or going down to the scuba shop and having them look at me cross-eyed, and then dealing with the hydros and the all the inspections and everything else. You should probably, I can't tell you don't get your tanks inspected. You're supposed to get your tanks inspected and hydro tested and all that stuff. But man, I tell you, it's when you're not a scuba person and you're taking tanks in and asking them to fill them, it gets tricky. If you could, again, I'll just ask you this, if you could, for a flat fee, have unlimited gunpowder for the rest of your life, that's what the personal compressor gives you, right? Okay. So you need to look at your all-in budget. And if you're going to get a PCP, you need, before you even start looking at the guns, scopes, and everything, you need to figure out how you're going to fill it. Personally, this is my go-to. One of these units, something like the Nova Air or whatever, the Rove Air, at Pyramid Air, the JTS compressor. They have a new one that actually fills little pony bottles. So they have, like, air guns have different capabilities, compressors have different capabilities. This one doesn't fill bottles, it just fills air guns. And if you only have one air gun and you're just shooting that one, occasionally this is perfect. $500, you're good to go. If you're going to fill bottles, then I would look at the next model up. It's $800, I guess, plus or minus, but it's water cooled. It can run for 5 hours continuous without overheating and causing a problem. That will fill tanks. If you can fill a tank, you can take that in the field and top your gun off. You need a way to fill your gun, so you got to budget that in. And the personal compressor, as far as I'm concerned, is the way to go. I like the JTS compressors. They're made by GX pumps with some extra features built in for durability. So if they look similar to GX pumps, it's because they're made by GX pumps, but they have extra stuff built specifically for JTS on the durability side of things. We can move along. So you've got your idea of what you want to do. You've decided you're going to fill it with a $500 invested compressor. And if you can't do that and you want to go with a hand pump right off, because you get a hand pump for less than $100 to get started, fine, do that. Go for it. Once you get shooting and you are ready to do this, then you'll be able to do it. And then that's going to open up the door to the rest of your PCP shooting life, because you can't, once you start with one, you're going to want to get another one. Just ask Sue how that works for me, hon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Connex is worth.
I have way too many.
Again, let's go back to the AirgunExpo in in April. Is it May? May.
Yeah.
That you can come and see some of his guns and maybe even shoot some of his guns that he has stored up in the connexes.
Yep. Yes, please come. We'll have a lot of fun. All right, so you got your budget. Now, besides the way to fill it, you're going to need an optic. And again, you could start with something like the Barra optic. I had never used that. I find it okay. It's a thicker reticle, which is why she likes it. It's something that I don't particularly care for, but I like a first focal plane that can be like super fine. I like that. I can see it works for me. I'm used to that. She can't, I don't even see the reticle. She does not do well with those scopes. So that's going to be sort of personal preference, very subjective to what works for you. Pinty makes some scopes. We used to do Pinty optics, sub $100, 4 to 16 by 40s. And we sold a bunch of those with Airgun Pro Shop. So there's a bunch of options that way. As you get more serious, you're going to find that glass does matter. The nicer glass is more enjoyable to shoot, and it does give you an advantage. So if you're starting out 25 yards in backyard, 416 off of Amazon, probably fine. No problem. As you get further along, investing in some good glass, you're gonna really appreciate it. You're gonna see the difference and enjoy it. Enjoy your shooting time more. Okay, so we got our accessories we're gonna need to shoot. We got our air, we got our scope. Let's say we got let's say we have $200 in scope, we got $500 in the compressor because we're going just the basic compressor. We're not gonna go big time, get the basic one. So now we're sitting at $700. We haven't even got a gun yet, right? So now we start looking at guns. And if you're 25 yards, backyard shooting paper, steel targets, power's not what you need. It's consistency, accuracy, and quiet. So now we start looking at guns, and I think guns like the Pinty, which we just reviewed on the Airgun Web channel, didn't review it, excuse me. We just demoed and showcased on the Airgun Web channel. Something like that is really a great first PCP. Sue, I mean, you've already talked a little bit about it. She shot a bunch of guns. If you just sat down that and didn't have a lot of experience, would you be satisfied with something like that, with what you were getting out of it at 50 yards?
About the one I shot the other day?
Yeah, the Barra, excuse me.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, I hadn't ever shot it before. I watched you shoot it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, the appearance of it is like, meh, whatever.
Yeah, it's not like aesthetically fancy at all.
But I mean, you know me, I like wood stocks. I like specific things. I like when it fits me, I like that. When I shoulder it and it fits, I like that. And I looked at that and I was like, yeah. And then you said, do you want to shoot it? And I said, sure. And I sat down and shot it, and each pellet hit the same place. And I was like, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah. Maybe it's not as, it can not look, it doesn't have to look pretty if it works.
Right. And it doesn't have to be expensive if it works.
Right. And I'll tell people, you know, people that get hung up, like really hung up on the aesthetics, if you're shooting it, you ain't looking at it. Yeah. So anyway, now.
I mean, I kept telling you on the day when I was shooting it, I kept telling you and interrupting you, frankly, to say, I'm really surprised. This is really good. For that amount of money, this is really good. But it really was. I was very impressed. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So I've put a list in here, and if you guys are on the chat, I'm going to ask you a question. You guys can jump in. So we've got defining our goals. We've got our all-in budget. Now I've got 4 things that I've put in my order after that, and I'm curious if it lines up with what you guys think. So the 4 things are, and I will give you in my order: accuracy, performance, ergonomics, and aesthetics. They're kind of different, but I stuck them together. And longevity, sustainability, and support. Okay? So those are the next 4 things, 4 categories that I would look at when I'm buying an airgun. I got my budget. Let's say I've got $1,000, which, gosh, we're already at $700. So I better say I got $1,100. I mean, well, no. I could do it. I could do it for $1,000. I could do the pump, the gun, and the scope, and still have a little left over for pellets for $1,000. And I know that that's a lot of money, but you got 500 of that into something that you're going to use like for all your other air guns. So, all right, so you got $1,000 to start. Okay. So there's a bunch of guns out there actually that could fit in that. If you're doing a $100 scope, let's say, there's a bunch of guns that are going to fit in that budget. The other gun Sue really likes, and you've talked about it a lot, your McCavity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you like that gun. That's also an affordable gun. Now, you've talked about it before, but for the folks that haven't heard it, what ingratiated you to that gun like right off the rip?
The fact that when I picked it up and shouldered it, it fit my shoulder. Sorry for hitting my mic. It fit my shoulder perfectly. And when I looked through the scope, I wasn't creaking my neck like this or trying to, was strain my neck. Give me I need a neck pillow or something, It was comfortable.
So for you, like for me, I can deal with the discomfort sometimes of the ergonomics and the aesthetics not being perfect. But for you, it's actually important, right?
Yeah, you know why? Because you shoot all the time.
Yeah,
you shoot every week, almost.
I shoot hours almost every week.
If the weather's good, you shoot every week.
Right.
I don't. I may shoot 2 or 3 times a year. So when I bend
we're going
my
to do
neck,
that more. We're going to be doing like 2 or 3 times a month.
Sure, but when I tilt my head like this to use a gun for half an hour, that the rest of that day and the next night, my neck hurts. So for me, I'm not used to doing that. I'm sure it'll get better if I do it more, but
you will get used to it. I mean, she's not used to the muscle memory of getting that scope alignment, and that's something you develop. I've got 20 years into that now. Plus, that's just air guns, and I was a shooter before that. So, the idea of setting up and getting that. I know where my cheeks got to go. I know where my eyes got to go. I know where my scope's set up, and I just as a natural thing. It's muscle memory for me. It's not a big deal for her. That's why the scope for her is so critical. That it be something she can see. Because if it's uncomfortable, she's not going to shoot it. So for me, accuracy is like the next thing. But for her, it might be ergonomics and aesthetics or the function. It really should be ergonomics and function, right?
And I'll say.
Hold on. Let me just say this because if the gun is hard for you to cock, you won't shoot it.
No.
So maybe we should have this not ergonomics and aesthetics, but ergonomics, function, and aesthetics. Maybe, I don't know if aesthetics should be on a separate one, but it's kind of, to me, it all goes together. But function for you is critical. I mean, do you remember some of the names of the guns that you had struggled with? I do. Any brake barrel.
Oh yeah, any brake barrel.
Any brake barrel,
I
forget
did
it.
not
She's
have
done.
the upper body strength for that. And that goes to something I wanted to say. If you want to get your wife or your girlfriend or your mother or your grandmother or whoever involved in shooting, take them to a place that has a variety of air guns that they can try. And don't sit them down with your favorite air gun that fits you, that everything works perfectly for you. Because if they don't like it first time around, they're not going to go back. Let them try a bunch of different ones, and they will find one. It'll probably be the most expensive, but let them try one. And I promise you, if a woman finds a gun that fits her, that she likes, she'll go shooting. She'll shoot it with you.
Yeah, I think when we go out and we're working together, we've got the time. We're not in a big rush.
Yeah,
you enjoy shooting.
Well, you and I both have different jobs. I mean, I work for you, but I have multiple other jobs and things I do.
Right.
So I don't have time to just shoot whenever you shoot. I don't have the ability to do that. If I did, it might be different. I might be a better shooter. I might be able to shoot further. I might be able to hold things. Who knows? Because, I mean, it is a skill. Shooting is a skill, and it strengthens your body and things too.
So guns she's struggled with is, like I said, any brake barrel, forget it.
Oh, yeah.
But on the PCP side, anything that's got a cocking bolt and not a side lever. So like the gauntlet, the original gauntlet or the G2 gauntlet that has a bolt you got to rack back.
Oh yeah.
She can't do it.
No.
She really struggles with it. Or like some
the ones
of
that are silver with like a ridge there and a ridge here, that's what you're talking about that I can't do, right?
It's the bolt that goes on the side of the gun. You got to pull straight back.
Yeah, but
anything
they
like
usually,
that.
yeah. The one that we had the other day.
Yeah, the Barra.
The grip on it I didn't like, but I liked the idea of it, and I like the
T handle. Or
I like the
bar.
handle on it.
Yeah. So like your AirArms just had a bar. This one had a bar
Oh
with
gosh,
with
the bars is so easy, and that's the other thing. People generally make well, this goes for pretty much anything, but people make guns for guys, not girls. They don't generally think, oh, woman, when they make a gun. But the smaller the cocking lever, they're actually easier for me to handle than the big bulky ones. They're awkward for me. So
I'll take your word for it. I shot recently. I pulled out my Maxima Thor, which was my gun. It was my favorite hunting gun at the day, some 8, 9, 10 years ago. 25 caliber, 50-ish foot-pounds, unregulated, just beautiful for me. Beautiful German built, weighs a ton. It was just like really, I was like, manly gun. I like it. And I went to shoot it. It caused me physical pain. Just trying to cock the daggum bolt. I was like, holy crap, I used to do this for hours. I don't want to shoot this anymore. It's sad. I've gotten to be such a wuss.
You're ready for some?
We got some questions?
You've got some comments.
Okay, go ahead.
Reliability and accuracy are king to me for small bore.
Okay.
John says accuracy. If you don't hit the target, it doesn't matter how hard you hit the adjoining dirt.
True. Makes a nice poof though.
Lightspeed said, I know JTS is a sponsor, but you can get a GX CS2 for half the price. That is rock solid. Sorry.
Cool.
Simply Airgun said, the lower your power, the more accurate it needs to be.
If you're hunting with it, for sure. Absolutely.
Kyle said, hunting groups are different for big bore than small bore.
Absolutely.
Nick said, reliability, accuracy, dependable.
Okay.
Steve said, reliability, accuracy come first. Ease of use in the field.
Okay.
For me, that would be important too.
Yep.
Like a lighter gun that's not so heavy to carry, doesn't have all the accessories I have to carry too. That's important to me. There's some more if you want to know more.
Yeah, let me just throw this in because we'll go back to them. You know what's interesting is that we're all different. Mm-hmm. Like I'm different than she is, right? So obviously, thank God. It'd be weird if we weren't different. The point is that because I'm different, I want different things, and that's okay. It's funny when I posted a video. I've been doing these pellet tests, and we eventually, hopefully, we'll get to the Airgun report here. We're gonna wrap this up and jump right to that. We'll skip all this other stuff, go right to that. And I start my testing at 25. In this case, it was 26 yards. And the reason I do that is because for me, I get a good visual of the distinction. If everything shoots like crap at 50 yards because I'm just testing it, I don't get to really see the distinction. But when there's a clear distinction between the different pellets close in, and then so I've got 8 pellets and only 3 of them are worth testing out further. That to me, that's cool. That's fun to know. And also, if you got 25 yards in your backyard and that's all you're ever shooting, then what's 50 yards really going to tell you? If there's other options that shoot as well inside that are close, they give you more value, like they're a lot cheaper and you get the same performance. To me, I think that's also useful. But there are other folks that if it doesn't shoot perfect at 100 yards, it's garbage. And I kind of would take issue with that because it's not garbage. It's just maybe not for you, right? So many people in their comments are so toxic, really. Oh, that's a piece of garbage. That's junk. Because why? It doesn't fit your needs?
I don't like it.
Yeah, because you don't like it, it's garbage? Well, no, I take issue with that. I really work hard to find the good in a product the good in a like an air gun. Sometimes I can't, and when I can't, I don't make up that it is. But I try and find a way to show it how you can get performance out of it, primarily for people that already own it. If you've already got it and you're struggling, well, here's how you can get more out of it. I think that's valuable. It's what I like to do. It's all a puzzle to me. That's why I like brake barrels so much, because each one was a challenge to unlock its potential to get accuracy out of it. The point being is we're all different. You guys, some people are like, if I can't get spare parts, I ain't never buying the gun. Okay. For you, if that's like the top tier thing, more power to you. It's not my top tier thing.
Then make sure you buy a name brand that's
well, yeah, we're going to get to that in just a second, because I've had 2 issues here come up lately that I know people are bumming because, yeah, they bought stuff, invested, and now they're out to dry. So, all right, so we've got this. We've got accuracy, performance, ergonomics, aesthetics, and function. And that function comes down to how easy is it to operate. Is it easy to load the mag, right? One of the things she loved so much about the bar was the mag was super easy to load.
Yeah.
It was just like, there wasn't this like flip it upside down and stand on your head and like twiddle your toes and put it in the pellet backwards, and none of that. It was just pellet, rotate, super easy. That matters to her. I don't really care. I make the other ones work. But for her, that's important, and it might be important to you. So knowing these things, you got your, you're all in budget, your accessories, your you know what you have to spend.
Usability is what Carl said.
There you go. Thank you. Perfect. Ergonomics, aesthetics, and usability. That's what we needed to get. We needed that word, usability. And then the last one comes down to the other points you guys were making, and that's longevity, sustainability, and support. And those are important. I put out a question to the GTA about what they'd like to see for like some video work. I had some guns as options, and they came back and said, we'd really like to see the Aspen looked at again. I said, gosh, I haven't shot that in a while. The Aspen, Sue, so you know, it's a PCP that has a built-in hand pump.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, it was, but it was made cheaply. And so, yeah, if you used it, like, I'm going to go shoot this, it's going to be
just died.
What died?
Something. Never mind, carry on, you're fine. Everything's fine for now.
Okay, what?
I don't know,
Okay.
Carry on.
Anyway, so the Aspen is, it was made cheaply. Now, FX made the Independence or something like that.
Died.
That camera up there died?
Mm-hmm. Carry on.
We don't need it. Okay, I don't know if the battery went dead or something. Anyway, so FX made the Independence. I think that's what it was. And it was like $3,000, something like that. And if they made it, it was super heavy, but it was also like built like a tank. It probably worked good. The Aspen was like the poor man's version. It was like $300-400 and an integrated pump. And if you used it like a typical PCP air gunner, I'm going to go shoot 10,000 rounds this month, you could burn the pump up. If you used it more like, I'm going to fill this gun up once, and then I'm going to shoot it occasionally, and then I'm going to use a hand pump when I'm out in the field to keep it topped off throughout my hunting day, it worked pretty good. Well, I said, gosh, let's go back to that. Well, come to find out, you can't buy them anymore from Pyramid Air Airgun Depot. So I don't know if they're still available. I didn't go beyond that. They may still be available out there somewhere else, but the company that brought them is not bringing them anymore. I think they're a Snow Peak variant, I believe. So the one I had 2. One is holding air, but the pump's bad. Can't put air in it anymore with the pump. And the other one, the pump's good, but it leaks like a sieve. It's brand new in the box, and I opened it up, and this is my fault. It's been in the box for 3 years. I didn't check it when I got it, like back when I was running Pro Shop. The stock's cracked, and it had oil leaked all in it, and yeah, it's just blowing out of the gauge. So my hope is to take the 2 and make one that works out of it. We'll see how that works. Might be a fun video to do live on Airgun Army, at least be comedic. You guys can see me dropping screws and see how many parts I have left over when I'm done. But I reached out, and I'm waiting to hear back. So I only reached out today. We'll see what they say. I reached out to Pyramid Air and said, hey, I got these 2 guns. Can we, I've got folks that are interested in seeing these things run again. I realize you don't sell them now. Is there a repair for it? And I don't know yet. I don't know if they can repair it, fix it. Hopefully I'll hear back and let you guys know what happens. But that's kind of a concern, right? You invest a bunch of money and now you're kind of dead in the water. That kind of sucks, right? And I will say that the cheaper guns have that kind of a track record. Like the affordable, like super affordable guns have that kind of a track record. The more expensive guns, the FXs, the Day States, those guys, they have like full-on service departments that maintain them. And I have BSA. I've had guns that are 8, 10 years old, send them back, they fix them, send them back to me. So there are services for the higher dollar stuff. And there are folks that work on the cheaper stuff too. That's like where Gateway Airguns is a great resource. I know Dave, who helps just keep the whole thing running. He has a whole side business fixing guns. He just does it hard, fast, continuous, fixing people's guns for them, fixing leaks, fixing all kinds of stuff. So there are people that do it, but you got to find the right people and they got to be able to get the parts, et cetera, et cetera. So that idea of longevity, we got longevity, sustainability, and support. Man, that could be like really critical. I will say that like the Air Venturi Avenger line has been pretty well supported. It's been out for many years. The Avenger and Vengex, you can get parts right off their website. If you buy that gun, maybe it would be worthwhile to get the parts in, because it's not if it wears out, it's when it wears out. Go ahead and get a couple rebuild kits and have them so that when you need to, you've already got your parts. Just something to think about when you're going. So maybe that should be part of your all-in cost. You know, I want at least one rebuild kit. Now, if we talk a little bit about, first of all, if you have any more comments on that stuff that you want to mention, Sue, and then I'm going to jump into the airgun report.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Do all airguns come with, or do they all make a rebuild kit?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing. No. That could, I mean, CO2 guns were some of the worst offenders. If you bought like a CO2 replica gun, you know, once your seal goes, well, it's waste now. It goes to the trash pile. Yeah, or you have to send it back into the manufacturer, who may or may not have parts for it. Yeah, it's an issue. It's an absolute issue. There are companies that maintain good service departments. I know people are going to scream and yell and holler because they're not going to agree with me, but Gammo, I know the guy who runs the department named Tony, freaking awesome dude, and they don't sell parts, but they don't sell parts because of liability. It's not because they're trying to make you send the gun to them. It's because they got a big freaking target on their back, and our society is so stinking litigious that, you know, some guy gets his thumb caught in a barrel because he was an idiot, and they're going to blame Gambo for it. So they're not, rather than deal with that potential, they just don't sell parts. I don't blame them. I mean, I already know some of the situations they've had to deal with over people's stupidity and the way the courts are today. I mean, if you're a gun company and somebody's suing you, you'd be lucky to get out of there with your shirt on your back. So, you know, I don't blame them at all. But I will say that they do maintain parts. They do maintain a service department. And they can fix your stuff, even well past warranty. So I know there's a lot of people, enthusiasts specifically, that want to do it themselves. Cool. Those guns probably aren't for you. And there's going to be fewer and fewer guns that are going to be available to do that with, unless you have your own machine shop to make your own parts. I don't get too far down that line. But if you are like super concerned about parts, availability, sustainability, that stuff, then before you buy the gun, make sure you can get the pieces, parts for it. And a lot of companies are actually shipping the gun with extra sets of O-rings. Pinty did, McCavity does, JTS does. I don't know if Air Venturi does with their Avenger or not, but I mean, you can get the rebuild kits there. They're easy. And there's folks like Captain O-Ring who make he makes great kits. They're color-coded O-ring rebuild kits for a lot of different guns out there. So if that's part of your thought process, you know, airguns are not like a firearm. Not a lot to go wrong with the firearm, right? It's like mechanical parts. They're built to a particular tolerance. If you put the right ammo in it, it probably lasts you many generations. Airguns are not the same way. They're very, very finicky. They have all these wearable, consumable parts that wear out over time. And if you plan to spend $400 and keep it for 20 years, probably not realistic. If you spend $1,200, you probably keep it for 20 years. Just as I pulled that Walther Maxima Thor. I hadn't touched it in probably 7, 8 years, the thing was still holding air and still shot like the day I put it away. I mean, that's what quality, that's what German engineering buys you. Anyway, we'll move on. Any other questions about like the thought process of buying your first PCP? Did we wrap that up clear enough, Sue? Did we bring that to a good enough conclusion?
I think so. I mean, Steve Wood said his wife wanted to shoot with us. My wife wanted to shoot with us and started her with a Jet 2. Nate said, is the Benjamin Marauder most quiet PCP?
No. It used to be, but it's not anymore.
Okay.
It's very quiet. It's very good. It's an exceptionally good gun, but no, it's not the quietest anymore.
Okay.
You come shoot my Daystate. My Daystate Red Wolf.
Oh, yeah. Backroads airgunning. I do find some guns I just naturally fit into. They feel a part of me, being the optics are set up for my body structure.
Yep.
Nick M said comfortable to shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has the thing that connects them to the particular product, and man, more power to you. That's cool. You know, I'm not gonna poo-poo on some guy who likes something that I don't particularly care for, because if he likes it, what do I care? If she likes it, what do I care? I just glad you're out there shooting. I wish, you know, more people would give other people space to breathe in the same room over stuff. It's funny. I mean, gosh, just be a YouTuber and see some of the comments. It's crazy. People are so convinced that their opinion is the only one that has any sort of validity or allowed to breathe. It's just not the case. I mean, we're all individuals with different likes and dislikes, and that's okay. Yeah, the fact that for me accuracy is more important than longevity or sustainability, that's okay. If it's flipped for you, that's okay. I know I can help you find products that fit in what you want to do. That's what I want. That's my goal, is to help you get what you want.
That's the kind of salesman I want, frankly. Somebody who wants me to get what I want out of it, not what they want me to get out of it.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. I want to help people get what they want out of their shooting experience.
It's not
what I think they should be getting.
It's not the help me, help you mentality.
Oh my God.
Help me, help you, help me mentality.
I about went to jail over a used car salesman with that line. You got to help me, help you. I'm about to help you right through that wall. Anyway, let's move it along.
Did you want to hear some of the other?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
They're not regarding that, but they're just comments.
Sure. Is it okay if we go a little late tonight? I didn't get to my Airgun report. I really wanted to do that tonight. So I do want to talk about that because it's something that I want to start doing more regularly. But this was a cool topic. Well, I think it's important.
This is just people chatting amongst themselves about things. But, okay. Umarex Origin 22 is a great beginner PCP, 25 yard, 20 shots, and you can cover with your thumb. Yep,
that's an excellent gun. Phenomenal gun.
Still have a Benjamin Nitro Trail.
Yep.
Girodoni air rifle had a built-in pump, and that was over 200 years ago, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Someone said it may have been separate.
No, it was part of this. The pump was separate, but it was a kit that went with the rifle, and the buttstock was the tank. It was a brazed brass tank, I believe, and the pump was separate, and you used the pump to pump up the tank, and the tank was your stock. Yeah, they actually have a replica of that at the Daisy Museum. It's pretty cool.
I bet there are a lot of those dead abs. I bet there are a lot of them dead aspens. It's not the American, I'm sorry. I bet there are a lot of them dead aspens out there, and I have a limp one. Dark Horse said, that's why I bought a used Air Arms. I can fix it and get the parts.
Yeah, I mean, Air Arms look, they're expensive, and now the price has gotten, gosh, I know they came out with their tactical. It's over $2,000 for that gun. It's a beautiful gun, gorgeous, fun, beautiful, wonderful gun. Love it, but you're paying for it. And I have the Hubin, which is my favorite air gun right now. The 25 cal Hubin is absolutely disgustingly awesome. I just love that gun. It's semi-automatic. The trigger's amazing. It's quiet. It's accurate. It's just gorgeous. I hope to God I never have to take it apart. I'll send it back to John at New England Airgun. Speaking of that, really quickly, before we jump to Airgun Report, this video is brought to you by us, but I do want to mention a couple of folks. JTS is one, you were talking about that. The other one, happens to be John at New England Airgun. I have the thing over here on my page. You pop it up, hun?
Yes.
Okay, so he sent me, and frankly, John, I'm sorry, I've been scared to deal with it. And I'm going on vacation. When I get back, it's like top of my list. He sent me the autoloader kit that goes on the side of my my Hubin. So what this is, if you can see it here on the page, it's this little doohickey that attaches to the side of your gun, and there's magazines that you can use to speed load your Hubin. If that works, I'm sure it does work. I'm looking forward to getting that on mine. I absolutely love shooting my 25 cal Hubin. It's a hoot and a holler. I love that gun. So if you're interested in Hubin stuff, or you have one and you're looking for a speed loader, definitely check out New England Airguns or New England Airgun. I think either one will work. And please let John know that you heard about them or saw them. If you don't know about them, well, tell them anyway. You saw them here on Let's Talk Airguns and Rick Utzler at Airgun Web.
And that price is the gun with the...
No, that's just the speed loader.
You sure?
Oh, I'm certain. The Hubin's $2,000. The rifle itself is 18 some change. So they're expensive guns.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're expensive, but it's like again, I've had that one for 3 or 4 years. I put air in it and she shoots, and she's drilling out the center. She's an awesome gun. All right. So Airgun report. Tomorrow, the video, and this will be coming out on the GTA channel. We have the report, or we have the video on our first set. You pull up my screen if you can. Our first test run with our grip set of 22 cal domed pellets. I'm trying to work out a process. We're going to be late tonight, guys. Hope you guys can hang out with us a little bit longer to get this data. I'm going to be like standardizing our tests for the GTA grip program, because I want to use the same pellets for for 22s. I use the same pellets, 25 same pellets. You guys get it, so that we can have consistent comparables. Is that right?
Comparables.
Comparables.
Don't ask a foreigner.
Comparables. Comps. We're gonna have consistent comps. Like when you're buying a house, you gotta have comps. I knew all about it. You gotta have comps. And so these are the pellets I've picked. I'm not quite sure about a couple of them. They might get swapped out, but for now we've got the JSP 1589s, 1813s, H&N variants are the same. Crossman Premiers, JTS Dead Centers, Barracuda Match, and the Super Domes. That's 8 pellets. That's a good starting point. Let's talk a little bit about how this gun shot, right? So if you want to know about the features of that, you can check out the unboxing video. It came out last week on the GTA channel, so go check that out. Today we're going to look at the results of our testing. Aren't those really cinematic pictures? Don't those look great? I think those look awesome. Sorry, let me admire my work for a minute. All right. All right. So I paired it with a Hawke scope. This is the Hawke Sidewinder 6-24. Not first focal plane. This is second focal plane. So super nice scope. I'm using the West Hunter mounts to get it up high enough so ergonomically it's not putting a crick in my neck. Those mounts, by the way, are awesome. We did a video on those, I believe, on the GTA as well. If you've got a bullpup, or if you've got a gun that doesn't give you the elevation that you need, even if you get really high mounts, those West Hunter mounts are really good. I like them a lot. But let's get down to the results. So we shot all these pellets, and we'll just show you the main picture here. So if we look here, the best pellets were the 1589s, just straight up. And that group there, and then this last group, this was the last group, the one there in the center, was the last group I shot at the end of the day. And you can see that the results between these two groups are essentially the same. I mean, margin of error for the shooter. Now, if we start looking at the other pellets, it's crazy the variations we had. So energy, first of all, let me say this. Consistency on all the groups was exceptional. Can you zoom out a little? Or? Yeah, no. It was exceptional. Yeah. So if I look at, let's see, standard deviation of 3.4, 1.3, 2.9, 2.4, 3.5. I mean, some of these things are just really, really consistent, and their velocity and standard deviation, extreme spread was all very, very good. So the performance in the gun is like this. The average extreme spread was probably 10, maybe 9. So we're single digits almost on all the groups. So that's awesome. That's just really, really good. So taking that into consideration, the mechanics of the gun are sound. What it struggled with is, man, did it not like some pellets. So again, 15.89s out of the gate, shot great. They shot really, really well. We're 26 yards here. We go here to the 18.13s, starts to drift to the left, and not as consistent. Not bad compared to the other groups we're going to look at. Now, I want, personally, the 15.89 groups, as far as I'm concerned, are marginal as far as a PCP's performance. That's, if I
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so you take this group here, the core group without the one that kind of escaped to the left.
Yeah.
That is what I want.
Yeah.
But I always had that one that got away.
Yeah.
Now these are 9 shots, so these aren't 5-shot groups, these are 9. So here's another one, and I had that kind of one that got away, right?
So is it shooter error?
Could
or
be.
Is it the ammo, or is it the weather, or what is it?
No, the weather was good.
Okay.
It's either shooter or equipment, and it's one or the other. More time behind the trigger is going to determine that, right? So these are out-of-the-box results. You guys know what I do. I take it out, I shoot it. I don't tune it. I don't take it apart and deburr it. The average person is going to take the gun and shoot the doggone thing, and that's how I want to test it. I know now that the pellets I want to take a look at are the 15.89s, 18.13s. I want to look at those again. I'll go ahead and clean the barrel, do my stuff, and then we'll try them at 25 yards again, shoot several groups with both pellets, and see how they do. If they're consistent and it makes sense to try and stretch them, then we'll stretch them. But the other side of this is that, like the Barra is 275, this is 280. And if you go to the Gateway Airguns website, we have the thank you to our advertisers, Pinty, up there. You get $40 off that. So now it's 240.
Where are you looking?
Up at the top.
The AEA airgun adapters?
No. At the very, very top. The very top, thank you for our average Pinty regulator.
The very, very
text.
top.
Right.
Gotcha.
So you can use code GTA, you get $40 off their air guns while they're in stock. I don't know how many they have left. I know that we've helped them sell a bunch. So if you have a couple $100 and you like a bullpup, and they have a rifle and a tactical, which I don't have for testing yet. I hope to get them. Maybe that's fine for you. If you're shooting spinners, I could shoot the little flippy spinners or the gamma knockdown targets all day and never miss with that kind of accuracy, even with the one that kind of got away. But if you're shooting paper for like super precision, it may not be your thing. And it may be that I haven't found the perfect pellet yet, although I think the 15.89s really probably are going to be the best. I want to test some other ones off camera, see how they do. And we'll see, because I've got 50 different types of 22 cal pellets. Maybe there's a better one. I just haven't found it yet. But that's a lot of shooting and a lot of time to invest in something. So we'll see. We'll see if I get to it. But that is like minimal performance I want at 26 yards out of a PCP. Given the price point, I give it a more margin for error. If this was like, I've had $1,000 guns that shot like this, and yeah, they would not get a pass. No, this is a couple $100, shoots like this, and it does so consistently. Okay, maybe there's something going on. Clean the barrel, do some stuff, see how it is, and we'll see how it goes. But let's look at the rest of the pellets. So we move on to the 18.13s. Bigger group shifted to the left. The Barracuda 15s, yeah, that was just, again, it's about the size of the 18s, but just kind of back to center. And then the 18 H&Ns, the reason you don't see all the holes is because some of them didn't land on the target. So you seen that, Sue?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is...
Or maybe I should say, oh, no, because they're not there.
That is horrific. That is awful. So we go from...
Okay, hold on. Let me move your photo. Okay.
We go from that.
On the left.
We go from that to that,
Yeah.
which is really, you go like, wow, okay. So I was hoping that I was going to have a couple like really good examples. We go over here to the Crossman Premieres, and that's that group. That's 26 yards, guys. So again, this is our standard, the 15.89s. This is what we got of these other pellets. The JTS dead centers.
How big are those circles?
About that big.
I know, but I mean, I can't see.
Inch and a quarter.
An inch and a quarter. Okay, go back up to the top one. Wow. No, the one on the right. That's quite the difference.
Yeah.
If you took off the 3 on the right and the 1 on the left.
Yeah, if you took 4 of those away, you had a great 5-shot group. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The Barracuda match, now that was interesting because I fell off the reg here and then I shot it again. And this group here was the second group, and it tightened up a little bit, but it's not that much better.
When you say you fell off the reg, you're talking about the regulated air pressure that goes into each shot.
Yeah, so what happens is your reg is set to, let's just say, oh, I forgot what the reg is set to on this, forgive me. Let's say the reg is set to 150 bar, and we're shooting from 300 or 200 bar down to 150 bar. If the pressure goes below 150, it's not having enough pressure to continue the consistent shot to shot to shot.
Okay.
So once your tank pressure drops below the set reg pressure, you're no longer getting the consistency. So I shot this. Now on paper, they talk about 80 shots per fill. Yeah, no. I maybe get 54 on the reg. Now you can keep shooting, but you're not on the reg anymore, right? It's just dropping like a rock. So we went from like shooting an extreme spread of 9 to extreme spread of 50 when it dropped off the reg. So I knew it dropped off the reg. Refilled it, shot another group. It was better, right? It's better.
Oh, the one in the middle there is the second group.
Yeah,
of the
it's better.
Barracuda match 22s.
It's better, just not good. And then we get down here to the Superdomes. Right, so the Superdomes. So, I mean, these are all very different pellets, different weights, different sizes, different shapes. I haven't tested any hunting pellets. I'm thinking if the 15.89s.
And that's all the same aim point, right?
Yes. I'm trying to remember.
Wherever you aim the first time you shoot, all your shots you aim the same place.
Yeah, I didn't try and adjust between shots. I pick a point of impact, and I maintain that through the entire string. Absolutely. So that's what you got. I mean, that's what I got. And I like the gun a lot. I need more time with it. I'm going to test hunting pellets. I don't think slugs are going to be practical because velocity on this, if we talk about that a little bit, it superseded what they put on the paperwork. They were saying it's like 800. It's like 870. I think the best we did. So the 15.89s. Okay, so that's just one pellet, so that one doesn't count. Here it is. So this is 9 shots. 9 shots, the 15.89s, extreme spread of 9, standard deviation 3.4. And the power was 27, let's see, 26 and some change foot-pounds. So it's not a power, it's like 30 plus, it's 25-ish, like 26-ish. So it's a good squirrel gun, rabbit gun, raccoon gun, close enough. I think putting the, I want to try it with the Hades, because the Hades and the 15.89 should shoot very similarly. So it would make a pretty nice little squirrel gun. Super light, fun gun to shoot. It cycles nicely. The trigger's decent. It's very lightweight. Ergonomically, it was pleasant to shoot. Has a lot going for it, but yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at the accuracy, it's passable with the 15.89s, but I did not find anything else that was passable with. Now, I want to try the polymags. I want to try the various options that have been good in other guns for years and years and years. So we'll do that, and we'll do another video. Or maybe what we'll do is we'll test it and then do our final grip video, kind of with all the data at once, sharing it with you. But anyway, that's the report on the Pinty. That video comes out tomorrow, and I don't know how many groups we show. I think we show maybe 10 groups, 8 pellets, and 2 of them get 2 groups of them. So we have 2 of the 15.89s and 2 of the Barracudas and the 8 total. So I'd like 10 groups. So it's pretty, we did condense the video down. It's only still about 15 minutes. So it's very compressed, but hopefully you guys will be able to get some details on it. Now, before we close up, any questions? Did anybody have any questions on?
No, there are a few things commented in here. Can I read them off? Okay, the Girodoni was carried by Lewis and Clark.
Right.
Look up the history; it's very interesting. Also some have been custom made to urinal specs. There are some good videos out there. Okay, hang on. CO2 is so hard on guns, you puncture the cartridge and use it immediately, otherwise the CO2 wrecks everything. To which someone responded that they use it, shoot 250 rounds a week through, no problems thus far. And they said, will you use your CO2 right away? He said CO2 goes acidic and ruins things.
It can eat the seals, right? So that's why you have, that's why Crossman put out the Pelgun oil, which I think is just transmission fluid. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. You can also put silicone, and it will help deter that. But the old issue was if you leave the CO2 in the gun, it just eats your seals. So you have to use it, take the CO2 out, and leave it empty. So, yeah.
You ready for more?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure where this came in, but recommend a low-maintenance air gun for bug-out bag. Oh, maybe that's a question. Would you recommend?
Okay, so, I mean, I have my favorite. I mean, for me, it's about simplicity. Let me go back. Let's see, what was I? Okay, I did the video, and we got some comments on it. I did the video on the Evan-X 30 cal sniper. Now, besides the fact that it looks like it should be on the arm of a robot, it's extremely simple. Internally, there's not a lot going on. You would only need a few O-rings and a couple spare parts to last you decades. It's not regulated. Now, if I need a bug-out gun or if I need to hunt, I don't really care about the regulation, the regulator, because it's the first shot that matters, right? If I'm target shooting and I'm trying to like be competitive, or I'm just target shooting for fun and trying to get the tightest groups, regulator is essential. But if I'm hunting and I want like max power with minimal overhead and complexity, a regulator is a wearable, consumable part. It will go bad on you. So you're going to either have to know how to rebuild it, or you're going to have spares. So bug out kit simplicity, unregulated PCP is great. I liked like the Rex, the Evan-X Rex, single shot, 50 cal. I called it the last resort. We had a model called the last resort. So you have the Rex pistol and we put a rifle tank on it, and it was a short little barrel. It's like, I forgot what we got energy out of that thing. I might be wrong. I was thinking we were getting close to 200 foot-pounds, like 180 foot-pounds out of the little thing with that rifle tank. Get 3-4 shots. Oh yeah, that's useful on many levels. That's a lot of useful. It's not multi-shot, doesn't have a magazine, it's not regulated, it's not semi-auto, but it's super simple, right? Only a couple parts. It's very easy to maintain. And Evan-X was pretty good, is pretty good. If you need parts for Rex, they still make it. So you can get 4 or 5 sets of parts, the most wearable parts, especially if you shoot it a lot. There's a couple parts that will eventually wear out. The cocking linkage and the sear are 2 parts that are weaker, and you want to have spares if you're going to shoot it a lot. But if you're shooting it in your scenario, bug out bag, probably going to be fine. Have 1 extra of each, and you'll probably be good to go for as long as you're ever going to use it. Yeah, but something like that would be cool. Super compact, super powerful, and they have it, like I would have it maybe in 35 instead of 50, personally. Then they make the rifle version, which is super compact, Then you can get the real fun one. I'm going off on a rabbit trail. Forgive me. The real fun one was you take the pistol and put it with the carbon fiber tank. That was awesome. That's maybe where we were getting the really high energy out of it. Shooting like 200 grain slugs. It's fun. It's a way fun. We have a couple. I think I have at least one or two in the shop. So if you come for AirgunExpo, try one out. Super fun. So any other questions?
Comments. I wish Hubin would have stayed with the LW barrels. Hubin GK1 is just as fun. You're trying to standardize test ammo over for a given caliber? Question mark.
Yes. So 25 cal will have its standard ammo. 22 will have its standard ammo. 177 will have its standard ammo. And every review we do on guns in the GTA grip program will go through that same ammo set of ammo. So that way, if we do a gun today and we do a gun 2 years from now, you're going to have the same sort of shot card. You'll be able to see how it did with the same batch of ammo. Theoretically, that's our goal. It's the hope anyway.
JTS Semidome. Pellet irregularities can make it do funny things in flight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have the Pinty rifle and the tactical. The rifle's the winner. My new best PCP.
I really wanted the rifle so bad. They said we're going to send you the tactical. And I looked at them and then they said, hey, we've got these other ones. I said, well, I really would like the rifle. And they sent me the bullpup. My least favorite. It's all right. The rifle looks really nice. And the fact that they're all regulated is just, for the money, is incredible. Look, for the money, dude, I mean, I give it a pass. I really do. Especially if you get it with a $40 coupon. So you're like it. And I think the rifle was already cheaper and then you still use a $40 coupon. I mean, I'll take that. That's fine. If I'm shooting in my backyard, it's quiet too. It's got a really decent integrated moderator. It's quiet. Yeah, and I can give it a pass on the slight inconsistency with the 15.89s, and that could just be I need to clean the barrel and get better with it too. So I'm not going to blame the gun yet. It could just be me. Now the other pellets that were shooting like shotgun, yeah, that wasn't me. That was the gun. But the 15.89s, they did really well. For the money, for the gun. I wouldn't think that was good if I spent $1,200 on a gun. I would be unhappy.
Yeah.
So,
okay, question.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the new Taipan / semi-auto with releasable mags, one mag specifically made for slugs? It looks like an Airgun Leishi?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know about I've shot the Airgun. I've heard of the gun you're referring to, but I don't have access to them, and I don't have a sponsor to provide one. So, and they're very expensive, so I don't see us acquiring one. So yeah, I know of them, but I've not spent any time with them.
Last comment so far.
Okay.
Regulator is just another thing that needs to be rebuilt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this before on the show. We'll wrap up with this. A regulator is not a replacement for good engineering. Let me explain. I have a Gamma Coyote 177. This is going back to our discussion earlier about the right air gun for the right person. I love this gun. It's a 177 that's 100-yard accurate. And when I say accurate, I'm not talking about accurate. I'm talking about accurate. Like group after group after group after group at 100 yards, it's 177. Unregulated. Has incredible consistency. Why? Because BSA knows how to make a proper valve and hammer spring and hammer weight and put it all together. And then they do not let people change it, right? They engineer it to do a thing and they say, keep your damn hands off of it and it's going to keep working. And you know what? It does. If you want to make it do, 100 foot-pounds, you can't. It's not meant for that. It's meant to shoot it like they give it to you and be happy with it. I know that just screams like, no, for so many people, but oh my gosh, I love that gun. I thought, honey, you're going to love this. Just give it a shot. She hates that gun. It doesn't fit her. She can't get it comfortable. She can't get her eye on the scope. I'm like, I'm just tacking this 1-inch spinner at 100 yards with this thing, just loving it. I'm like, oh my God, this is so awesome, honey, you gotta try it. Nope, she'll go back to her McCavity. That's how she's happy with that.
Your favorite thing is somebody who buys a gun and then modifies it and modifies it and modifies it and modifies it until it can do close to something that is already out on the market for cheaper.
I am, look, I get it. Back to the different strokes for different folks. If tinkering's your thing and you love it, awesome, go for it, more power to you. It's not my thing. And it doesn't need to be incorporated into every single airgun. Not every airgun needs to be adjustable. If it works, just let it work. What's happened is, much like back in the day with springers, when we were using coiled springs, they rattled, they buzzed, all these things. You had to go through all this work to make it shoot decent, or at least feel decent when you shot it. And then they came out with a nitro piston and it solved all the world's problems. No, it just, you didn't notice the bad engineering nearly as much because it didn't have the characteristics of a metal spring. It didn't vibrate, didn't buzz. Didn't mean the gun shot much better. It actually had worse recoil, et cetera, et cetera. It was harder on scopes. I mean, it went backwards, but you couldn't feel all the negative things that the springs did, but they were still there. Good engineering overcomes that. If you have a gun that's properly engineered, a spring can be wonderful. The Walther LGV is like the perfect example of how engineering with a springer can be done right. The thing is absolutely gorgeous to shoot. I love that gun. It's amazing. But it was super expensive and it was engineered to be amazing. TX200 is another example. Engineered to be amazing. And it is amazing. But they're also very, very expensive. So you had companies that took a gun that was not engineered well, that people were doing all kinds of work to make it shootable, and they put a gas ram in it and said, we've improved it. No, you just hid your bad engineering. Regulators can do the same thing. So if you throw a regulator at a cheap gun, you can achieve more consistent velocity. Doesn't mean you're going to improve accuracy. And maybe this is an example of that. It was good with the 15.89s, but I have guns that will shoot 8 different pellets well. This one shoots 1 pellet reasonably well. So maybe they need to do a little more work somewhere back in the engineering department, besides just throwing a reg in a gun. Right? I don't know how else to put it. Maybe there's some more engineering that needs to be done back there. A regulator, it can be, like if you're doing competitive shooting and that's your jam, then you're going to want a reg. But a properly engineered gun is a joy. I have a Daystate, a Huntsman Revere, unregulated. Love that gun. And it does need a reg. It's gorgeous to shoot. You find out exactly where your shot curve is, just stay there. You don't need that additional complexity. That's a rant. That's a Rick rant. So I get it. That's just my 2 cents, my opinion. So if you don't have the same one, it's okay. We don't need to argue about it. We can still be friends. Just, that's a Rick rant. So anyway, there you go. Anything else, Sue?
2 comments. If I remember right, the old Dragon Claw had a pretty flat curve with the right ammo. Not a lot of power, but super consistent.
I have one. I have an OG Dragon Claw 50 cal, and I can get 10 shots out of that, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's 230. It's like 230 foot-pounds, so it's not 350 or 400. But do you know how many deer got dropped with 200 foot-pound air guns? Let's go back to the Giardini thing you guys were talking about with Lewis and Clark. That was nowhere near that, and they hunted with that. That was an assault. That was the assault rifle of the day.
The Girardoni?
Girardoni, whatever.
You're thinking chocolate.
Girardelli. Yeah, we're going to have chocolate later. Like melt it and put it on ice cream. Sounds good, doesn't it? It does sound good.
Steve Wood said the specs the manufacturer sets them to is what they see works to get the best overall performance.
Yes, you talk about like the Coyote and stuff. The Coyote's made by BSA. They know how to make guns. They know how to make stuff. It's really, really good stuff. Airarms, same thing.
Airguns of Idaho says it's all about the barrel.
Okay. Thing is that I believe that is absolutely, well, look, it is all about the barrel. My counter to that is there's a lot of people making really decent barrels today. It's not like it was back 10, 15 years ago. Because I've got McCavity. It's a $400 gun that shoots amazingly well. So it doesn't have to be an LW barrel. It doesn't have to be a fancy name brand barrel. Crossman, they're factory barrels back in the day. I don't know how they're doing now. Of course, now that they're owned by Gamma Daisy, I don't know if they're making anything anymore. But I don't know. But they used to make really good barrels. Just the cheapy barrels were really, really good. So yes, it is all about the barrel, but it doesn't mean that you have to buy an LW barrel to get good results. There are a lot of good guns that just come right off the, I mean, with now CNC and all the automation and everything, I mean, how we're getting $300 air guns that shoot really, really well. If you guys take a look at the video I shot on the Barra 1100, now we shot that out to 100 yards and with just a basic scope and me behind the trigger, which I'm not, I mean, put somebody who knows how to shoot behind it, they're going to give you better results, but I'm an average shooter giving you guys what you should be able to get what I get. You know, everybody should be able to get what I get. And that thing was great for $275. Wow, it's great. But you're right, it is all about the barrel. I think that there are a lot of really decent barrels out there. It doesn't have to be just the one. Used to be that you needed an LW. Yes. She's giving me that I need to wrap it up. Like, come on, kids, move along. There's nothing to see here anymore. Anything else?
We're over half an hour late.
Oh, well, you know, maybe I got to do just the Airgun report as its own show.
Yes, maybe.
I'll get better, I promise.
Or just a Q&A once a month.
We could do that. Although I really like the Q&A. I like the dialogue. One thing I'll ask you guys to do for me, if you're still here and watching, I appreciate you, and means that you guys are committed to, well, either that or you're really bored. Either way, thank you.
Or both.
Maybe a little both. Or should be committed. Moving along. Sue and I shot the Barra video. I get Barra and Pinty because they were on top of each other. The Barra video differently than we've done a lot of our other videos. I'm curious as to your thoughts on that. Now there were some, we can definitely obviously do it better. That was our first shot. We've done a couple like that, but we really want to kind of use that format going forward. I would love to know what you guys think of that, if it's something that you think we should invest more time in. I like it. I think it's more engaging. It's, I don't know, it just seems to me like people can watch it more, I think. I would watch it more. I'm curious what you guys think about that video. We'll be doing more with that gun and other guns here. We're going to be out of town, by the way. We go out of town next week. We'll be out for 2 weeks. So I do not know about the next 2 week of these shows. I may not have them because I'll be down in South Carolina. So I will put a note up on Facebook and YouTube community and all the other things about our next show when we're going to have it once I kind of get settled and deal with stuff down there. So anyway, that's going to be it, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. Sue, you got anything else you want to throw in there?
Nope.
You got a chuckle on your face. What are you thinking?
Oh, nothing. I'll tell you after the show.
And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Guys, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. If you have questions, comments, whatever, leave them down in the video comments, and we will do what we can to answer them and get back to you. Check out GatewayToAirguns.org, the forum, or AirgunArmy.com, our site there, and we'd love to see you over there. And if you are a person who wants to help other people in their airgun journey, you'd like to be a moderator or on either site, or you'd like to be more involved and kind of just doing more stuff that way, then let me know. Reach out. I get you in touch with our admins, and we can see how things go, because we're always looking for people that are willing to get in there and help others. So that is going to be it. My name's Rick here with Gateway Airguns, AirgunWeb on Let's Talk Airguns. You guys have a great night. Bye.
Good night, everyone.